Hello everyone, and welcome to V-Knowledge on Cinema. I'm Victor Omoayo, and today's film is Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor, starring Jurnee Smollett-Bell, Lance Gross, Robbie Jones, Vanessa Williams, Ella Joyce, and Brandy Norwood, written and directed by Tyler Perry, and released in 2013. Okay, full disclosure people, I am not a Tyler Perry fan in the slightest, okay? Even though I've seen some of his movies in the past, each time I came away being less than impressed. And while I do understand the appeal of the popularity of his films, I find that his works are just rife with terrible elements, from his penchant of taking very talented actors and poorly directing them to deliver broad, ham-handed performances, to his overbearing, heavy-handed moralizing, to his complete aversion to subtlety and nuance. Quite honestly, the works of Mr. Medea do not appeal to me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So why did I decide to watch Tyler Perry's latest film, Temptation, Memoirs of a Matrimonial Practitioner, Enthusiast, whatever? Well, at this point, I've made 14 video essays on films that I like, and by the way, I thank you for your support and for watching and enjoying my videos as well as your feedback. Anyway, I figure that at this point, in order to acknowledge the good of cinema, sometimes you have to acknowledge the awfulness of it as well. After all, how else can greatness be measured otherwise, am I right? And here's the thing, I didn't set out to bash this movie sight unseen. I always make it a point to give credit where credit is due, to give each movie my fair and honest assessment. Now, in that regard, I was not expecting the world from Tyler Perry from this film. I wasn't expecting him to reach Scorsese, Spike Lee, Steve McQueen, Spielberg levels of auteurism. No, I simply expected a well-made, competent, serviceable film with good acting, good dialogue, good direction, a good story. Something that shows that after all these years, Tyler Perry has shown some improvement in his craft by now. So with that said, has he shown any improvement with this film? Well, as a matter of fact, he doesn't. No, there is no improvement in Tyler Perry's craft in this film. This film is awful. It's laughably awful. As a matter of fact, before I move forward, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning for the two of you out there who will just be offended at the fact that I'm spoiling a Tyler Perry movie of all films. So kick back, relax, and let's get into this Temptation tale. Temptation opens with a marriage counselor working with a young couple who are having some issues. After the husband storms out of the office in a huff, possibly because he realized what kind of movie he was in, the counselor deduces that his wife is having an affair and proceeds to tell this woman the story of herself, her sister, Judith, played by the talented Jurnee Smollett-Bell. Judith is a 26-year-old therapist working at a high-end matchmaking agency. She's married to her pharmacist husband, Bryce, who also happens to be her childhood sweetheart. Aww. At this point, their marriage has fallen into staid, passionless routine. Spontaneity has long since given way to complacency. At work, Judith encounters a chance for fresh and brand new excitement in the form of Harley, a billionaire online businessman who eventually seduces her with his suave charm and borderline predatory persistence. As Judith and Harley engage in their torrid affair, poor old Bryce has to contend with his lifelong love slipping away from his fingers and into the sinister web of sin. Now, where do I begin with this problematic picture? For one thing, Temptation suffers from many of the tropes that are endemic in Tyler Perry's work. For example, why does every successful, professionally ambitious woman in his movies end up taking it on the chin, both literally and figuratively? Judith, unfortunately, is no exception. She dreams about establishing her own marriage counseling practice, yet her husband Bryce tells her to cool her aspirations and wait about, let's say 10 to 15 years to make it happen. What? And yet she's supposed to be totally supportive of his own dreams of establishing and owning his own pharmacy. So apparently it's the husband's own dreams and desires that matter, not Judith's. I mean, because apparently she's forgetting her own place as the dutiful wife who, I'm paraphrasing her own words by the way, is supposed to cook and clean for her man, as well as allow him to romp inside her pleasure garden 3 times a week, according to the Bible and her mother. And furthermore, because Judith is an ambitious woman in the Tyler Perry universe, she's gotta be knocked down a peg or two. Bright, intelligent, career-oriented women? Oh no, that's hubris, we can't have that. It's the same tired chauvinist perspective at work in Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Medea's Family Reunion, his botched adaptation of For Colored Girls, and many of his other productions. Insecure much, Tyler? There's another element about Judith's relationship with Bryce that really bothers me. There's a scene where Judith and Harley are discussing their matchmaking project at her office, and Harley asks her some very invasive questions about her sexual history. Now, instead of being creeped out, Judith quivers at his laughably atrocious "Do I make you horny, baby?" monologue, and immediately in the next scene, she comes home and attempts to jump her husband's bones in the kitchen. You know, a rather spirited way of bringing back the spark into their marriage. An admirable effort. But instead of returning the favor, do you know what this jabroni tells her in the heat of the moment? He says,
No, honey. That's not what we do. We only have sex in the bedroom. We can go there and do this the right way.
Excuse me? What kind of patriarchal bullshit is that? Is the film really trying to tell us that it is wrong for a woman to have any sort of agency over her own sexuality and her own body? Is this film really trying to sell us the insidious notion that a woman's own romantic or sexual desires begin and end with those of her husband or boyfriend? Are you freaking kidding me? And we're supposed to agree with Bryce's side of things? No, that schmuck is unacceptable. On that note, let's talk about the character of Harley, who is literally deemed to be Satan incarnate. You see, he drives a red convertible, the color of hell. Symbolism! Harley is a good example of how Perry's writing lacks any sort of nuance, complexity, or tonal consistency. This knob job shifts from smooth and charismatic to needy and lovelorn, all the way to homicidal, and back to charming, all in the span of a few lines of dialogue. And man, oh man, in a film that's filled with terrible dialogue, Harley Boy here offers some of the film's finest gems. Let's consider a scene where he's trying to seduce Judith at his home. Here are his lines verbatim. "If I had a woman as beautiful as you, I wouldn't miss a thing. Like the small blonde hairs on the back of your neck, or how your left temple throbs when you're in deep thought. How calm you get when you're really excited. Like right now. That is very sexy. How slow you're breathing. It rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again." Jeez, this scene couldn't be any creepier if Q Lazarus' song Goodbye Horses played in the background and if Harley turned into Buffalo Bill. There's also another scene which sees Judith and Harley riding in his private plane, and wow, the poetry just keeps on coming. Here, he clumsily segues between debonair, desperate, and demented all at once. You know, Aaron Sorkin should sit down and take notes, for the writing in this scene is just masterful. I think I just love too hard. I love, I fall. Before I know it, I'm gone. Just crazy. Crazy in love, you know? Beyonce. So I've learned to keep my true feelings inside because most women can't handle the kind of emotion that I bring. What does that mean? Well, I can come on really strong. How so? I want to make love to you right now. That's the kind of thing I'd say to her. You are so beautiful. Thank you. I was talking about my ex. But you are beautiful, though. You are. And then the scene takes a serious turn off a cliff with Harley proceeding to make love to Judith, and by that I actually mean rape. Judith tells him in vain to stop and tries to fight him off, to which he arrogantly replies, "Now you can say you resisted." Judith then gives in. Afterwards, she initially tells him never to contact her again, but lo and behold, they hook up again, and then she turns to the dark side of the Force. This time, the evil Judith has taken over, and you can tell she's bad because now she wears tight, provocative dresses, sports messy hair, black eyeliner, and a newfound cocaine addiction. She evil, y'all. She evil. Now, Judith's downfall is a prime example of the film's clumsy, blunt force moralizing, but there's a subplot in the movie which is just damned insulting. Early in the film, Brandy's character Melinda is hired at Bryce's pharmacy, but it's clear that she's concealing a dangerous secret. Apparently, she's hiding from her abusive ex-boyfriend. Can you guess who that might be? Yet another fine example of Perry's allergy to nuance, Melinda fearfully creeps out of the store all the way to her poorly lit apartment, clad in an oversized hoodie as if she was an assassin being pursued by the Templars. She even locks the door and creeps in the shadows with a baseball bat, ready to take on the poltergeists dwelling in her home. We later find out that Melinda suffers from HIV, which she contracted from her ex-boyfriend, whose identity even the most savviest of viewers would not be able to guess 3 minutes into the film. Upon discovering who it is, Bryce rescues Judith from the clutches of the evil, satanic HIV billionaire Harley, and all is right with the world. Well, Bryce's world anyway. You see, the film concludes several years later with an older Judith, clad in drab, homely attire and moving with a slow, hobbling gait to the pharmacy, which is now owned by her now former husband, sporting the laziest and most unconvincingly put together old age makeup I've ever seen. After she picks up her medication, she sees Bryce triumphantly embrace his new wife and young son. As Bryce, smiling like a smug asshole, watches Judith shuffle her way out of the pharmacy, she exits the store and into her new, depressing life of loneliness, regrets, and church. You know what, people? I can't abide this awful conclusion. The film as a whole, but this epilogue especially, just reeks of social irresponsibility. So apparently Tyler Perry seems to believe that HIV is a just punishment for Judith and Melinda, that they deserve this disease just because they made some bad decisions. Now, if this movie was made and released back in the late 80s or early 90s, when HIV/AIDS was poorly understood, then I could see how a writer-director would have the temerity to make a film born out of such naked and offensive ignorance. But seeing as how this is the 21st century, there's no excuse for this wrong-headed, fear-mongering, misinformative piece of crap. Okay people, as terrible as this film is, there is one silver lining in all of this, and that is the stunning, star-making performance of one Kim Kardashian, which is a sight to behold. Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, Kate Blanchett, amateurs. Kim K's robotic, personality-free portrayal of an animatronic mannequin in a tight dress is the stuff of Screen Actors Guild and Academy Awards. Hey, don't be surprised when she sweeps this year's awards season, folks. You heard it here first. So there you have it, everyone. Tyler Perry's Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. Now, as crappy as this movie is, I'm going to echo the late great Roger Ebert's review of Basic Instinct 2, in which he said thus: "I cannot recommend this movie, but then again, why the hell can't I? Just because it's god-awful? Now, god-awful and boring, that would be a reason." And as always, thank you for watching. I'm Victor Omoayo, and there's more video essay goodness to be had on my V Knowledge channel.